Hello, hello. My name is Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is Double Trouble Feature. Ooh,
I have no idea what that was.
that was like...
I have no idea what just came out of my mouth, to be honest, and I apologize.
It sounds like what happens after a well-placed thumbing. Go back and re-listen to that, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Anyway.
For you at home, please rewind and listen to that sound again, and think of a good thumbing.
Like a thumbs up,
thumbs
hello.
Up. Hey,
yeah.
like and subscribe. But
yeah,
no,
like and subscribe. This is Double Trouble Features. And please make sure that you are liking and subscribing. Please, we're poor and we're trying to not be poor. Yes.
This is our get rich quick scheme. Okay.
Very quick, right?
I was like, yeah. Okay. I was just doing this for fun. There's money involved.
Yes.
He just hasn't even told me.
I keep all the money. Reparations. But anyway, today's episode, we're going to talk about some things. We got some cool horror movies that we need to talk about.
It's just been a horror summer.
Yeah, then we're going to talk about, the TV shows that we've been watching. And of course, August is already halfway over, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's basically Christmas.
Yeah, so we're just going to give you a rundown of what's coming out in this back third of the year.
A lot of announcements happening.
Oscar season.
New trailers coming out. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I cannot wait. So, Joe, are you still in your spooky era right now?
I'm always in my spooky era. I want to watch horror movies all the time. I just want to be scared and I want to be horrified.
Let's have a deep dive in that. Okay, why are you? I'm just kidding. No. So, what other scary movies? Like, again, we've talked about Long Legs. We talked about Trapped. Next week we're going to talk about Romulus. Which I'm super excited to see this weekend. But what did you watch?
Well, to answer your first question, I watch horror movies and I like them because it helps me deal with the horrors of everyday life. And I recently had a fun little double feature on Shudder.
Ooh.
If you don't have a Shudder account, totally fine. It also is on AMC. If you have like an AMC Plus account, you can also watch these movies on there.
I don't think anybody
They're
has
connected.
an AMC.
You know, there are people in this world who have Shudder accounts like me. Honestly, I should probably switch over to AMC Plus because it's got more.
Can I get your login?
Yes, you can have my login.
Yes. You did not hear this, AMC Plus.
So you got to watch these movies right after this. So I just had a little double feature. They're doing fun things over there at Shudder. So the first movie I watched is called Humane. Humane is a movie set in this world where, surprise, surprise, the population all over everywhere is just too high. And so all of the countries of the world decided that they need to decrease the population.
I feel like this is actually going to happen.
Yeah, and so it gets really fucked up. So what ends up happening is they start opening up to people who can like volunteer to be a number in the decrease of population. So and all the countries have their set parameters for however many percentage of the population they have to go down. So in countries like India and China, their percentage was higher because they had more people, and it actually got kind of like racist because they like called it like the China problem and shit like that, and they called that out and like that kind of stuff. So it does get interesting in the fact of like where we currently are in things and how people currently feel about things and how that's like going
like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. And so, what happens in this case? So in this movie, everyone's decided that everyone needs to decrease the population. So you can sign up, and if you sign up, your family gets money. So a lot of poor people are signing up. They opened it up to illegal immigrants. So people from Mexico could come to America, sign up. One of the parents could die, and their family would get a lot of money. So it kind of became this whole thing.
Them illegals.
Yeah, it kind of became this whole thing about like taking advantage of poor people. They started opening up to prisoners and all of this stuff. So it gets into all of this. And so that's just the...
If I'm in prison, I'm definitely doing that.
Exactly. And so they get into this world, and there's this family. And you got to think of it as like a Succession type family. Like they're wealthy. The dad calls all the kids. There's like 4 of them. One of them is I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's the kind of dorky guy from This Is the End, and he was in
oh my God, what's his name?
It's like Jay something.
Jay
Barrow.
Jay's his name.
Jay's his name.
Yeah.
And yeah, if for people at home, like if that wasn't enough of a reference, he's the main guy in She's Out of My League.
Yep.
Those kinds of movies. So it was really interesting. Also in this movie is Emily Hampshire, who is Stevie from Schitt's Creek. And so she's really fun in it. She plays a fucking bitch. So
I love Stevie.
So it's all these adult kids. They bring them over, and these 2 parents. It's their father, who's like a rich former anchor of all this like from like an ABC type network.
Yeah.
And then their stepmother, who's an Asian woman, who like that's how it kind of comes into like the racism with China and all of that fun stuff. And so they like invite them all over, have a dinner, and they sit there and they're like, okay, so me and your stepmom signed up to die. And
are they old?
They're a little bit older. Like they're not like
normal parent age.
Yeah. Like our parents' age kind of thing. And so it's like these like it's this these kids who are in their 30s. They were rich kids. They didn't really do anything with their shit. One of them, he's
must be fucking nice.
One of them, the guy Jay, he's like an actual activist for like getting people to sign up, and so he like goes on talk shows and speaks about this kind of stuff. He's like trying to convince people to.
So he's like pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but what's interesting is like the second they said that, he was against.
Yeah, of course.
And of course.
It's happens.
Of course. And so they're like arguing and all this stuff, and they're like, we need to talk to our dad by himself. And so they're talking to the dad by himself. While this is going on, stepmom runs away. She says, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to die. Runs away.
Oh, so dad and mom are not on the same page.
No.
Okay.
He obviously talked her into this, and it became this whole thing about legacy and like doing what's right and setting an example for exactly
to kill yourself
because it's for the population. It was
bro. What
it was to make sure.
How much you get paid? Do you know?
I don't remember the specifics, but so what this actually goes into in the horror of it all is these guys show up. They're like, hey, we're here to do the service, and we're gonna walk, and we're gonna like take you into the room, stick the needle in, you say your goodbyes, we'll take the body out, we'll take the cadaver out. So they walk in, they're like, okay, well, she disappeared. And so he was like, well, maybe I don't want to do it. He's like, well, let me talk to you for a second. Dad goes into this room, and then he comes out, and he's like obviously shaken. And they're like, okay. He's like, I'm going to do it. He goes upstairs, kills dad. Is what it is. That's how this story's going. Loads dad up.
Hey, followed through. At least he followed through.
Loads dad up.
Am I getting like 30K? I need at least 30K a body.
Exactly. But so he loads dad up into the thing, and then he turns around to the people. He's like, okay, so your stepmom also signed up, but she's not here. And we were signed to take 2 bodies, 2 cadavers. And so you all need to decide amongst you where we're going to get that cadaver from.
Activists.
And they're just like, I'm sorry, what? And they go, so our company. And they're like, aren't you the government? Like, you can't just like come in here and do that. And they're like, well, actually, we're a private contractor. Because
as always,
everything in the government is a private contract. Department of Motor Vehicles, private business, funded by the government. USPS, United States Postal Service, it's not the United States Postal Service. It's just a postal service in the United States. Has nothing to do with the government. But anyways, I could go on a whole tangent about this. They lie to us. So yeah. They subcontract this out to this shit. These motherfuckers come in with guns and say, you all get to decide which one of you is going to be dead.
So it's just a brother and sister?
So there's 4 of them.
Okay.
There's I think 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And there is, thank you for asking this question because important plot line. So one of the sons is obviously like pro, like he does all this shit and he's kind of an asshole. Emily Hampshire's character, she's a fucking bitch, corporate woman, like that's her whole shtick. one of them, she's like kind of an artsy girl. And then the last one, the youngest, he was adopted. He's Mexican and he has a drug problem and he's in recovery.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, broski.
So, yes.
I'm sorry, broski.
That is a significant plot point in the movie. I'm not going to say much more other than that, but it's just very interesting watching people be put in a situation that's life or death, and they really don't have any control over what's going on, and they have to decide out of your siblings, who are we going to kill?
I'm sorry, broski. It's either broski or the pro one. One of those two. Who you killing? Killing?
It's a good movie. Once you find out more, you got to watch the movie because once you
give me the count.
Once you find out more, there's one person that I would 100% choose over any of them. It's not the pro and it's not the little broski. There's one person who I would kill. I'm not going to say any more than that, but anyways, so yeah, I would give this movie a good 6, 7. I would watch it again if somebody was like, I want to watch a scary movie. What should we watch? I would pull this movie up.
So 7.
Yeah,
all
7.
Okay.
7.
No, that actually intrigues me.
Yeah. No, good psychological horror. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. A lot of shit happens. A lot of shenanigans that I didn't get into.
Run me that account.
Yeah.
Run me that account. I'm watching it tonight.
I got you.
Hey, there we go. Hey. Shout out to Shutter. Always providing. Always
with some sick fuck shit.
So, again, you like that sick fuck shit.
I like that sick fuck shit. What can I say?
You know what? I don't know if I like that. I like psychological thrillers. I would say more than real horror movies. But now as I gotten older, I'm like okay to watch that because like back then I'm not gonna lie. I was a bitch when I was a kid. I was definitely a bitch as a kid. I was just like, Dad, I'm not trying to watch this.
I was like 4 years old watching I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, no, I'm watching, like, I would have, but I don't think I'm talking about, like real horror, you know?
Like,
I'm talking, like, monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I was watching
like gruesome shit that I couldn't do.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, yeah. I still to this day, I've never watched Human Centipede. I refuse.
You didn't watch that in high school?
No, because
oh my god,
no, because I do have limitations, and here's my thing: gore for gore's sake is I don't think is as exciting. I think
understandable.
I think the Hostel movies are really good. I think the Saw movies are really fun. Yeah, but Human Centipede for me, that was just like a line too far.
What you can't handle, butt to mouth, mouth to butt.
Not when there's surgical implements involved.
And they're so together. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do get what you mean. Yeah. No. So, what movie did you watch?
So, the other movie that I watched recently, I had a little double feature, was Arcadian. And in Arcadian, it is championed by Nicolas Cage. And
Daddy Nick.
He's in it and he's doing great. So what this is set in like a post-apocalyptic world where it's basically like everyone has to homestead. Like there's no centralized government. These people are just out in the woods, living their life, basically like doomsday prepping. So you start to notice things. He's like, Nicolas Cage is trying to raise his 2 teenage sons in this world. And it is dark. It is difficult, and they are not allowed to go out at night. Why, you may ask? There is something out in those woods trying to kill people.
See, my problem with movie premises like that is just when a motherfucker says, don't go out at night, you just don't go out at night.
And you don't risk it. So
you don't risk it. You don't ask questions. You be like, yes.
And so obviously raising 2 teenage boys in the apocalypse can be a little difficult because, I mean, raising a teenage boy now sounds awful. I couldn't do it with all the internets and TikToks and Pornhubs. Like, God, I have to talk to you about fisting at 6 anyway. So,
ooh.
Speaking of, but there is another family nearby that is a lot more well off. They have like a whole farm situation going on that they have.
Hell
and
yeah.
they have medicine, they have supplies, all this stuff. And so they trade with this family for like goods, services, all this fun stuff. Well,
Good old
surprise,
America.
surprise, farmer has a daughter. And yep, you know where this is going. Surprise, surprise, farmer has a daughter. And I'm not going to lie. At first, I wasn't really into this movie because it felt very slow.
Yeah.
And very.
I have a question. Do you think horniness will be the death of all of us?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You hear the way these kids talk these days? Why do you think I just brought it up? It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
We're all going to die because somebody's just too horny.
Teenagers today know too much, and I blame the parents. Like maybe your 16-year-old doesn't need unlimited access to the internet at all times.
No, they don't.
Crazy thoughts.
Take their phone away.
And your 11-year-old definitely doesn't. Let's use the parental controls that are free.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thing. But speaking of parental control, so obviously one of the teenage boys and the girl starts to have a little thing. One of the boys, he ends up staying out too late one night, and he's on his way home and it's dark, but he's not used to the dark because he doesn't ever go outside in the dark, and he falls into some hole. Dad has to go get him, and that's when things take such a shit fuck turn, because these monsters that start coming after them, I will not be able to describe them and do them justice. I still get like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. The shivers down my spine.
Oh, so this is freaky.
It freaked me the fuck out. So these monsters, they're kind of humanoid, but on all fours, and they have a head that kind of like extends up like this. But once they start doing this, it starts chattering like a fucking like bear trap on hydraulics.
Nah.
And
What's this? All right. What's this? Hold on.
You looking it up?
Oh, I'm going to look it up.
Like I said, I'm not going to be able to do it justice.
What's it called?
Arcadian. And so these monsters are almost kind of like shapeshifters in a way. They do some stuff. So like and it's such a slow burn into them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, what the fuck is this?
Yes, exactly.
What the fuck is this?
Jordan, I cannot begin to explain how far left.
Oh my God.
Like, this movie was kind of boring, and then it took such a fucking sharp turn that I still think about it. Like, I was genuinely creeped out. It was awful. These monsters were horrifying.
For the audio listeners, nah, there's some weird ass fucking shit.
And they like open,
and you say they make noises?
They make this chattering noise when
no.
They start, like, it's literally like teeth, and they start chattering when they're getting excited.
Oh, ew.
It's fucked.
Oh, that's even worse.
It makes my skin crawl, and then there's like parts where they like open up their bodies to like
okay.
It's
I don't.
It
where do people get these like images or thoughts?
It takes you to a dark primal place, and I cannot explain like how gross it freaked me out. Like I would give this movie a 7 as well, just because it's just a scary fucking movie. It creeps me out. It gave me genuine like chills. I was not, to be honest, this movie didn't really tie in who was the hero, so you really didn't know who was gonna live or die.
All right, I actually might check that out.
Yeah, no, I think
that thing was creepy as hell.
I think you should, and like, I'm not kidding, and like, and I do say it's a slow burn because like it takes a while for you to actually see the creature.
First like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's this one, like, I don't fully understand like the capabilities that they have, but like there's this, like, the first thing you see them in is you see the boy's home alone because he sees that his dad went to go find his other brother.
Yeah.
This boy's home alone. He sets a trap for one of them, and you see it, and he pretends to be asleep on the chair, and he's just like this, and you see this hand reach in.
No, stop.
And
stop,
then one single finger just starts stretching. just stretching
What the
towards
fuck?
the boy's face. And it's so slow, and
I might not watch it now.
And it makes like I have so much anxiety from this movie. I want to go watch it again right now.
Oh my God.
It was just a good scary movie. There wasn't like too much plot that you were like confused. Like I feel like a lot of horror movies nowadays, they try to give way too much plot.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
like it's all or the other side, it's all style and no substance.
Yeah.
Because I also watched Tarot this weekend, and fucking Christ, that movie was a fucking
terrible movie.
No, it was all style and no substance, because I think that like the visuals were cool from that movie. Tarot is what I'm speaking of right now. I think the visuals were really interesting, but like the story made no fucking sense, and you did not care about any of these people. So I feel like it's like, I think this one kind of toes the line between the two, and it
Good movie.
freaked me the fuck out. I still
All
think
right.
about those monsters.
Okay, so I guess I'm not sleeping tonight after seeing that image. Again, audio listeners, I'm sorry. This thing's fucking creepy.
Yeah. Get a free trial for Shudder and go watch Arcadian and Humane, and you'll have just like a creepy little night. There's also a lot of other fun movies on Shudder.
It's almost Halloween. It's almost Halloween.
Yeah, get started.
Jesus
Give yourself
Christ.
a little tease.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so now I've talked enough.
Yes, you have.
Jordan, what have you been watching on television lately?
All right,
won't
so
shut up about it.
I haven't watched any movies this week because this series has preoccupied all my time. It's called Presumed Innocent. And if you have not heard of it, I need you to watch it. Okay. So last week I literally talked about, I was like, why do I have this Apple TV Plus subscription?
For Time Bandits.
And I watched the Instigators, terrible movie. Again, don't recommend it. But then I saw Presumed Innocent. Look at some reviews. I'm like, oh, okay, looks good. And of course, this stars Jake Gyllenhaal. Which, again, Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he has the most punchable face in Hollywood.
Oh. I'm surprised. I thought you would have been a Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he's a good actor. I do think he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but yeah, I want to.
He has a punchable face.
I want to
though.
punch his face every time I see it.
Yeah, no. So this movie or this TV shows, it is a thriller. It's a murder mystery. So basically, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's the assistant attorney general of the city of Chicago. He's with his family. Then he gets a call, and it's like, oh shit, what's happening? His partner's dead. Somebody who's also a prosecutor.
Okay.
Is dead.
I was gonna be like partner or like partner.
Hold on.
Ooh.
So Jake Gyllenhaal goes to the scene of crime, and him and the district attorney are like, what the fuck's going on? And she's dead. She's tied up like in this like, creepy ass way, like bondage wise.
Yeah.
And like, so this is like a sadistic fuck.
Some like Shibari shit.
Yeah, who did this? Turns out that Carolyn is the one who died. She prosecuted a guy who did that to another girl, but he's in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake Gyllenhaal, the district attorney, he's like, hey, who's played by Bill Camp, who does a fantastic job in this show. Bill Camp just always plays that like older, pissed off dad.
Yeah.
Like plays it perfectly. But he's like, hey, Jake, you're taking control of this case. I want you to find out who did this, and you're going to prosecute whatever. So Jake's like trying to figure out who's doing this. He goes to the jail, and he's like, hey, she was tied up exactly like how you did. You said you wanted her dead. You said this. Here's where the twist happens. Again, this is all like the first episode.
Okay.
So it is an election season.
Oh.
And so two other guys who work in the same, like works for the DA.
Uh-huh.
One guy's running for the district attorney, state prosecutor, or not the state prosecutor. Yeah, the district attorney for the city. And he's like running, saying, oh, they get away with this shit. He's talking shit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And election happens. He wins. And so the old district attorney gets kicked off, and he's like, you know what? I'll step down right now. and let him take over. And so Jake Gyllenhaal basically gets kicked off the assignment because this is a big case. So he gives it to his buddy, who's Tommy. They start investigating, and this is where it gets interesting. So Jake Gyllenhaal's character, whose name is Rusty, was definitely having sexual relationships with Carolyn. Carolyn and him were breaking up. The night of, he sent her 30 fucking text messages. And Rusty, who's Jake Gyllenhaal, is married with 2 kids.
Of course he is.
And they've known and stuff like that. They've worked through it. But he told his wife, yeah, we ended this like a year ago. They've been going to group therapy and everything like that. We got the DNA sample back. God damn. She's 6 weeks pregnant. So, and the wife also finds this shit out. And so this sets up of the entire time of like, it clearly was like Rusty and Carolyn were not on the same page. Like Jake Gyllenhaal fell in love with his coworker, and like actually loved her, but she didn't love him back,
guys.
And so she was like, I'm kind of done with this. And then that night of, sent her 30 some odd text messages, and that's all we know. And then she's dead the next day.
Guys, just please stop fucking your coworkers. Like,
I mean facts.
But I mean, I guess keep doing it so we get stories like this, and the people who don't fuck their coworkers can watch from a distance. But good God.
So the whole premise is just like basically the new DA and his partner is trying to pin this murder onto Jake Gyllenhaal's character, who's Rusty.
So is it like a serial killer situation?
Well, because they're focused only on Jake Gyllenhaal, who he presumably only killed Carolyn. It's not really a serial killer.
Okay.
But it's just like so basically it's more like a courtroom kind of situation of like, they're trying to prove that he did it and he's trying to prove his innocence. And when I tell you there's just nothing but twist and turn and shit happening every fucking episode.
See, I like a show like that makes you like, you sit there and you're like, where you have to pause it to go smoke a cigarette because you're just like, what the fuck was that?
No, and I swear, you really don't know who did it until you watch the fucking last episode. Like usually, like it's like, oh, he did it, the wife did it, or kid did it, or this person did it, you know, this stalker that did whatever. You can figure it out probably like episode 1, 2, or 3. You don't know. And it's only 8 episodes long. They're like 42 minutes, like 40, 45, not even a full hour. I'm telling you, this is a show you just got to binge.
Interesting.
I'm not kidding. Like I was like talking to my wife, and I was just like, yeah, this is my top 5 for this year. This is a top 5. Jake Gyllenhaal plays a hell of a role. Again, a punchable dude. He plays that role just perfectly.
Well, it's interesting because he also recently was in, I want to say Night Stalker was what it was called, where he played a little creep that I wanted to punch too. He was like literally taking pictures of people, but it was like, he was like,
yeah,
being a fucking creep.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing him still playing a little fucking creep.
His wife, who's Ruth, she plays the wife. Oh my God.
I love Ruth Negga. I think she's great. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, Jordan, until I was like,
oh, you see the cast.
You pulled up the cast and I was like, you know what? If people
No, it's a good cast.
If people are in this other than Jake Gyllenhaal, that sounds great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, he's a good actor. I'm sure he does a great job. He's a very handsome man. He's got that privileged face you wanna.
Oh no, but %.
It's just
yes.
He just
a punchable fuck you, like you come from money kind of face. You think you're better than me.
You just look like you've never eaten a boiled hot dog.
Facts.
And it shows. And maybe we could be completely wrong and making assumptions.
No,
about
yeah,
this.
he could have had a horrible childhood, and we have no idea.
To be honest, I don't know much about him because I always conflate him with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, same.
I'm
not the only person. Thank you.
My
wife was talking shit on me.
I know. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, what else was he in? He wasn't in Barbie. That was Ryan Gosling.
No, he's not. He's not in La La Land.
He wasn't in The Notebook. That was Ryan Gosling. He wasn't in La La. That was Ryan Gosling. And I'm like, what the fuck was he in?
Yes, no. But okay, I would actually give this series a 9.
Ooh.
Like I'm not kidding when I tell you I'm on my edge of my seat every single episode, figuring out. You see what happens with the wife. You see what happens with Jake. You see what happens with the defense attorney who is now the DA that lost the race becomes the defense attorney.
Oh,
exactly. So it's like a case of his life too.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that does sound good.
You get Carolyn's excommunicated kid involved, who straight up told, "I don't love you" as a kid. Like, I don't love you. I don't want any part of you. You get the fucking douchebag of Tommy. You get just new evidence comes in all the fucking time. That's either pro or against.
It just sounds like a really long CSI episode, and I've been watching the fuck out of some CSI lately.
Great. Yes. No. The only problem I have with this show is, again, Jake Gyllenhaal is he's a prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
He's going and investigating, and I'm like, prosecutors don't do investigations like this. Well, I was like, these are that's all detective work.
Detectives and and literally anyone else.
That's not the prosecutor or not the defense at all.
Well, movies for movies' sake. That's
exactly.
I mean, that's like Emily in Paris. Yeah, she is the social strategist, copywriter, social manager, PR publicist, and
she's all in one.
Yeah, and she just does it all. She's like, oh, we got to tweet that. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no. So I would easily give this a 9. It's a great show. And again, it's a limited series, very short, 42-minute episodes, only 8. You can knock it out.
He's like, it's not that much of a time
commitment, guys.
Please watch.
Please watch.
To be honest, that's maybe 2 Lord of the Rings movies. Maybe.
Shit, is it even 2?
It depends on if you get the extended version or not.
Director's cut every time.
Oh, God, I have 6 hours to spend.
And finally, we're going to talk about the show you've been watching. It's a good show, right?
It is a fantastic show. I love this show. It's an amazing show.
But it's all about good, right?
Yeah, and evil.
Evil!
So the show that I've been watching is Evil. It is on Paramount Plus. It has about 4 seasons. The 4th season is going right now. It's about to end. It's been super fun to watch. So what this show is it follows these 3 people. One, Father David Acosta. He's a priest, a Catholic priest. There's Kristen Bouchard. She is a psychiatrist. And then there's this other guy named Ben, and he is a scientist. He's really into that MIT shit.
I feel like this is how video games start off.
Exactly. Exactly. So how this the premise of the show kind of starts is the church is having issues with a potential demonic possession. And they're trying to decide whether or not this demonic possession is real or not. And so they bring in these experts. Father David Acosta, he's the priest at the church. He brings in Kristen Bouchard, who is a psychiatrist she's helping him with all of the psychological aspects of it. And then Ben's job is to come in and look at all the physical elements of it. Is anyone messing with something? Is it AI? Is it electronic? Any of that shit. So they go through all of this. It's a long process. And the whole time you're sitting there, you really don't know. You're are demons real? Because Father David Acosta, obviously already, he believes in God, he believes in angels, he believes in demons, he believes in the whole 9 yards. He believes. Ben was raised Muslim, does not really believe in anything, but has Just, like
Muslim background.
Yeah. And then Kristen is like a staunch atheist, doesn't believe in anything. But Kristen has these night terrors. And it's those sleep demons. And so she's having issues with having these sleep demons at night. So she's also going to see a psychiatrist about this. And that psychiatrist is working with another psychiatrist. And he's like kind of in all this shit. And that's Leland. Leland is like the main bad guy. And it's important to remember. So in all of this, the church is like, there's all this stuff going on. The church is involved. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Leland's a part of this. They don't know what's going on there. But the church ends up hiring Kristen and Ben along with Father David Acosta to be the outside consultants for all things demonic possession. It is their job now. They get hired by the church to go through and decide whether the church should be giving an exorcism or not. And
ooh, that's a good question.
No, exactly. And you see them go at it from like every different angle. Was she abused? Is there some kind of like this going on? And then you have the priest there actually asking like the questions of like the spiritual, from the spiritual side of things. So it's really interesting to see how this show progresses, because throughout the whole thing, you're sitting there going back and forth being like, are demons real or not in this show?
Again, I don't fuck. If you know anything from this podcast, I don't fuck with demons. I don't fuck with demons.
So it goes deep into like the psychological aspect of it, and then as well as when it gets into like this newer season, like the 4th season, like stuff happens, things progress. There's murderers involved because there's a lot of like court cases involved in a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of like issues with the church and things that are going on.
Always issues with the church.
Yeah, no. So it tackles a lot of really heavy subjects in a very...
You said 4 seasons?
Yes. 4 seasons, Paramount Plus. It tackles a lot of really heavy things like faith, loss of faith, how to like go about the world in a spiritual way, but you're not spiritual yourself, those kinds of things. And I mean, really asking the questions like, are these monsters real or am I making them up in my head?
I feel like that's the question everybody has.
Exactly. And so it's just it's an interesting premise. The cast is great. Kristen has like a husband and kids, and they have kind of a tumultuous relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you have like a thing for Catholic priests, the Father David Acosta, why I keep saying that like that, he is a handsome
Mike
man.
Coulter.
He played Luke Cage, apparently.
Luke Cage.
I have not seen Luke Cage, but I have seen this, and he is a beautiful
Is his
man.
shirt off in this show?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, it is. He is a hot priest, and that is a point of contention throughout the show. For those of you who don't have Paramount Plus, I think the first 3 seasons are on Netflix, so you can go ahead and start there. It's super fun. They'll probably put out the 4th season soonish because it's about to end on Paramount
Michael
Plus.
Emerson is Leland.
Michael Emerson is Leland, and he plays the most fantastic little fucking creep you've ever seen in your life. No, I'm not kidding. The way he talks, it is just...
I mean, he looks like a creep. Let's be honest. Like, no offense. I think he's a great actor.
Well, and the thing is, like, he's such an infuriating character because he is a great actor. He's a good liar. And he's really good. And he's also a psychiatrist in all of this. And he like plays with that shit. And he fucks with Kristen a lot. And he's the one that is like constantly like, are demons real or not? You do get a definitive answer at some point.
I don't care if demons are real or not. I'm just not fucking with them.
No, it's a great show, but there's a lot of really creepy moments to it. It's just...
You said it's on Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix and Paramount Plus.
Yeah, because I do not have Paramount Plus because there's nothing on Paramount Plus for me to watch. There's not.
Criminal Minds Evolution?
Oh, I forgot about that.
God. Like,
I got enough seasons of regular Criminal Minds.
No, you need that AI Criminal Minds.
No, you did really intrigue me, though. When you said that, I just don't have Paramount. You got Paramount Plus?
Yes, I have.
It's somebody else's, isn't it?
I might be able to get you a login. We'll talk later.
I'm getting logins today.
Paramount, don't come for me.
Oh my god. But yeah. So, tell us, are you interested in evil? Are demons real or not? And when you go to court, should you be presumed innocent? I don't know.
Yeah, we got into a lot of murder today.
Yeah.
It was a murderous episode. Well,
yeah, I'm about to go kill Joe. So
thank God. I've been begging for it.
So yeah, my name is Jordan.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Double Trouble Features.